Heartwarming moment. Millionaire discovers incredible bond through employee's baby life-changing. Jack tapped the framed awards lining his wall. Each plaque was a reflection of his grit. His relentless ambition soaring high above the whispers of his youth in this bustling suburban town. The office buzzed with the clatter of keyboards and lively chatter, but a heavy silence clung to him. He was surrounded by many, yet felt completely empty, listing in the sea of his accomplishments. Behind the iron walls of success, there lay an aching loneliness, like a tight knot in his chest that wouldn't he loosen. That day started like any other, until he accidentally wandered into the break room. There, the sight struck him like a bolt of lightning. Lisa, a coworker he barely knew, cradling her newborn. Her face lit with a warmth he'd almost forgotten. Her soft, soothing voice floated through the air as she sang a lullaby, each gentle note weaving a tapestry of devotion that felt almost sacred. "Please be okay, sweetheart," she whispered, her voice cracking slightly. Jack paused, heart racing. He caught snippets of her conversation, a hushed worry spilling from her lips, talking about urgent medical bills, the looming threat of debt, and fear for her child's health. At that moment, the vivid colors of his world dimmed, contrasting sharply with her sincere struggle. Did he dare look deeper? Was there more beneath the award-studded facade? Lisa was fighting for more than just herself. Her raw determination stirred something within him. For the first time in years, he felt empathy pushing against the heavy walls he had built. He thought about the dinners he had alone, the hollow smiles exchanged at industry events. The revelation struck him. What was all this success if it led to isolation? A burning desire to act ignited in Jack. As he learned about Lisa's struggles, he decided he needed to break down the barriers between them. But it wasn't just about money. No, he wanted to offer support to help her juggle work and motherhood. With her fiery spirit and her courage, Lisa became a breath of fresh air he never knew he needed. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But his plan was met with whispers and raised eyebrows, colleagues questioning his motives. "What's he think he's doing?" murmured an associate across the room, dismissing the budding connection. Their skepticism loomed over him, a grim reminder of the divides he had navigated his entire life. As Jack grappled with the decision to boldly support Lisa, the weight of his privilege sat heavy on his shoulders. Could he challenge the status quo? The 100 million question loomed. Was compassion strong enough to alter the very definition of success? The thought terrified him and ignited a flicker of hope in one breath. Was it possible to rewrite not only Lisa's story but his own? With every fiber of his being, he prepared to reveal his intentions. The tension spiraled, and his heart raced, knowing he needed to confront more than just the wall of disapproval around him. As Jack stood at the brink of change, the profound question remained. Could one man's act of kindness redefine not just his life, but the lives of everyone around him? Jack took a deep breath, the weight of his intentions pressing on him like a heavy coat. The decision to approach Lisa felt monumental. In the allure of corporate success, he had lost touch with what it meant to be truly human. And here was a chance not just to change Lisa's life, but to mend his own. The break room, still fragrant with coffee, buzzed with voices. He spotted Lisa at a corner table, cradling her sleeping baby. Her eyes were focused out the window, radiating a mix of worry and determination. Jack felt a pang of longing to be a part of her world, even if for just a moment. He approached her, each step echoing louder in his mind than the last. "Hey, Lisa." His voice sounded steadier than he felt. She turned, surprise flickering in her eyes before softening. "Oh, hi, Jack. I didn't expect to see you here." The smile she wore was genuine, bright enough to pierce the weight in his chest. "Can we talk?" He gestured to the empty chair across from her. Sure. She shifted, making space for him at the table as he sat. Jack could feel the energy in the air change, as if they were stepping into a new world away from the judgmental voices of their colleagues. I've been meaning to ask you about, the things you mentioned the other day. Your baby's health. Is everything all right? For a moment, silence enveloped them. Lisa's gaze dropped to her sleeping child. It's tough, she admitted, her voice trembling. The medical bills are piling up. I'm terrified I won't be able to give my baby the care he needs. Jack swallowed hard, his heart aching. Without thinking, he reached across the table and placed his hand over hers. I want to help. Her eyes widened slightly, as if she were trying to comprehend the weight of his words. Help? But why? Because, he said, his voice steady, I can. I know what it's like to feel trapped by circumstances. I've been there. The moment hung between them, both of them aware that this was a turning point. Lisa studied him, looking for signs of insincerity, but all she found was raw honesty. You don't know me that well, she replied cautiously. Why would you do this? Because for the first time in years I feel like maybe I could, he confessed, his voice cracking just a little. I see you, Lisa. You're fighting for your little one, and that fight is worth so much more than everything I've accomplished without connection. Tears glittered in her eyes, reflecting a mix of disbelief and gratitude. The walls had crumbled a little, and Jack could see vulnerability creeping in. But what if people find out? What if they think? I don't care what they think, Jack interrupted, a determination bubbling within him. I want to help you, no strings attached. Let us figure this out together. The warmth in her expression deepened, mingling with hope and curiosity. For the first time, Jack felt the gnawing loneliness begin to fade, giving way to a sense of purpose that made his heart race. Their connection felt both unprecedented and terrifyingly intimate. Okay, she whispered, a resolve settling on her face. Let us do it. The exchange sparked something that felt like possibility radiating through the break room. As Jack left the break room that day, he realized he had crossed a threshold. But he also knew whispers would not fade easily. Could his act of kindness withstand the scrutiny? Would Lisa's life truly change? As uncertainty loomed, Jack felt the answer was just beginning to unfold. And little did he know, this was only the first step on a path that would challenge everything he thought he knew about success and love. What would happen next when the limits of their partnership began to stretch beyond just kindness? Jack couldn't shake the feeling that he had entered a new chapter in his life. It was strange how a few words could shift the entire landscape of his world. As he walked through the bustling office, the usual chatter blended into a low hum, nothing more than background noise. His mind was on Lisa, her worries, her warmth, the way her face lit up with hope. The rest of the day felt surreal. Meetings and conference calls slipped by, but Jack found it hard to focus. Every so often, he'd glance out the window and see people bustling about below, each lost in their own concerns. He wasn't just another cog in the machine anymore. Somehow, he was part of something bigger. The following morning, Jack arrived early, his heart racing with anticipation. He had been thinking about how to help Lisa and her baby. The possibilities seemed endless, yet daunting. He needed to approach this carefully. As he settled into his office, reminders of his previous life surrounded him: awards, accolades, and the signature leather briefcase that had traveled the world with him. But it all felt hollow compared to the connection he felt toward Lisa. When the clock showed 9 a.m., Jack decided to head down to the break room. He hoped to catch Lisa before her shift started. The doors swung open, and he spotted her immediately, talking softly to a colleague, her baby nestled in a sling against her chest. There was a softness in her features today that felt like a light piercing through the storm clouds she had been trying to navigate. Hey, Lisa, Jack called, his voice filled with a warmth he hoped would reach her. She turned, a smile breaking through her earlier worries. Jack, good morning. I was hoping to speak to you about, our plan, he said, gesturing for her to join him at a nearby table. Her expression shifted from delight to cautious contemplation. Right. I've had a lot on my mind. I know, he replied, his expression serious. But let us make a start. What do you need most right now? Lisa leaned in, glancing around as if to make sure no one else could hear them. It's the medical bills. They're piling up faster than I can keep track. I just want to make sure my baby is healthy. Jack felt an ache settle in his chest. It was one of those moments when he realized that some burdens couldn't simply be wished away. What if we create a plan? I could help you sort through the financial mess. Figure out what you need to do next. Her eyes widened in disbelief. You'd really do that for me? Absolutely. His voice was steady, unwavering. Together we can tackle this. I can connect you with my financial advisor. Maybe even help with a fundraiser. Lisa's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a mix of disbelief and gratitude. That would mean everything to me, Jack. But I don't want to put you in a position that makes you uncomfortable. I don't want to owe you. You don't owe me anything. He reached out, taking her hand once more. Friendship shouldn't come with a price tag. We're in this as a team. The warmth of their hands together sparked something stronger, an unspoken agreement to not only share burdens but also to protect each other as their lives intertwined. As they shared ideas and began to map out a path forward, Jack marveled at how quickly things had changed. Helping Lisa didn't just ignite purpose in him. It also set off internal shifts he hadn't anticipated. His eyes wandered over the room, feeling as if the whole world outside became allies instead of competitors. But as they wrapped up their session, a nagging concern crept in, tugging quietly at the edges of his thoughts. What would their offices think? Would they support his sudden desire to help an employee, or would they see it as weakness? Jack looked back at Lisa, her face glowing with hope. He couldn't back down now. Let us do something special, he suggested. Something that gets the whole company involved. A good cause and community around it. Lisa's eyes sparkled with excitement, and for the first time, he could see a flicker of joy amidst the exhaustion. That could really change things. As they dove deeper into planning this venture, Jack realized they were on the brink of something significant. His heart raced with the possibilities. But deep down, he knew he had yet to confront the reality of his decision and the challenges it would invite. What would happen when their partnership began to influence not just their lives, but everyone around them? To think it all started with a spark of kindness. Jack couldn't help but feel an electric buzz of excitement as he and Lisa began brainstorming ideas for the fundraiser. The air hummed with possibility, and for a moment, the stress of their daily lives melted away. He knew that they were on the cusp of creating something meaningful, and he couldn't shake the sense that this endeavor would redefine not just their futures but the whole office atmosphere. Maybe a bake sale? Lisa suggested, her voice a mix of hope and hesitation. Jack raised an eyebrow. Baked goods? That's classic. But let us spice it up, make it a whole event. Maybe we could include a mini carnival. Games for the kids. Raffles, what do you think? Her face lit up at the idea, energy surging in her eyes. A carnival would draw people in. We could get everyone involved. The marketing team loves that kind of thing. And we could partner with local businesses for donations. Exactly. Jack's enthusiasm matched hers. They were sketching out possibilities, trading ideas that flew back and forth like a game of ping pong. But amid all the excitement, Jack couldn't ignore the question that lingered in the back of his mind. How would their colleagues react to the initiative? Were they ready for such a big change? As if reading his thoughts, Lisa piped up, I think people will surprise us. Usually, they want to help, they just need direction. Right, Jack replied, nodding. Let us set up a meeting to bring everyone in on this. Lisa smiled, her confidence visibly growing. That could work. We could brainstorm as a group. Involve the entire team. A spark of determination ignited in Jack. Let us do it. Let us make this more than just a fundraiser. Let us turn it into a movement. We're not just helping you, we're building a community. With newfound energy, they began drafting emails, designing a presentation, and outlining their vision. The anticipation of gathering their colleagues and rallying them around a shared cause sent adrenaline coursing through Jack's veins. Yet, as he hit send on the invitation for the meeting, an uneasy knot formed in his stomach. Would they support him or question his motives? That afternoon, as Jack settled back into his desk, He glanced at the wall filled with his awards and accolades, the achievements he had pursued relentlessly in a world driven by competition. Felt trivial now. There wasn't a trophy on that wall that could hold a candle to the joy of standing next to Lisa, sharing in a mission to uplift her and the new life in her arms. The day unfolded into a whirlwind of tasks, and the meeting loomed large in Jack's mind. When the moment finally came, he stepped into the conference room, the buzz of anticipation electrifying the air. His heart raced as he looked around, taking in the curious expressions of his colleagues. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his chest. "I wanted to talk about something important, about giving back." As ideas filled the room, Jack felt the walls of doubt beginning to crumble. The discussions turned vibrant, laughter emerged, and hands shot up, filled with suggestions. He watched his coworkers transform from mere colleagues to allies united in a common purpose. Lisa sat beside him, her pride evident, her child peacefully dozing. Yet, just as the momentum seemed unstoppable, a voice piped up from the back. "But this is a workplace, Jack. Are we crossing a line here?" The question hung in the air, heavy and charged. As he glanced at Lisa, he could see the concern mirrored in her eyes. She looked away, her excitement seemingly fading like a sunset swathed in clouds. Jack took a deep breath. This isn't just about helping one person. It's about creating a community, building connections that go beyond these walls. If we can help Lisa and others like her, imagine the impact. A hush fell over the room, each person weighing the implications. Would they see the vision of solidarity or remain shackled by doubt? He sensed the room shift, but he sensed something else lurking in the background, a looming question of whether their bond could withstand the scrutiny of the corporate world. As the discussions revived and a plan began to take shape, Jack felt hope rise anew. But a visceral fear gripped him too. What if his colleagues turned on him? What if they pushed back against this initiative? A glance at Lisa reminded him of why they were there, igniting a determination to push through. "Sometimes it takes just one act of kindness to change the world for many," he said quietly, looking into her eyes, drawing strength from their connection. This was just the beginning of something far bigger. As they shared ideas and navigated the uncertainties ahead, the question loomed. Would they be able to foster a culture of compassion in a place that had thrived on competition? Perhaps this was the moment when everything would shift, but for better or worse. The next step felt daunting, and Jack knew there were more hurdles ahead. Could he really lead not just Lisa but an entire team into a new era of unity? As the meeting wrapped up, Jack caught small glimpses of renewed hope in the eyes of his coworkers. Their laughter echoed around the room, but a weight still lingered. They gathered their notes, scribbling down ideas and suggestions that could make their vision a reality. Jack felt a pulse of energy. This was more than a fundraiser. It was a chance to bring everyone together, to ignite a spirit of camaraderie that had been buried by deadlines and office politics. Lisa's hand brushed his arm, pulling him back into the present. "You did great, Jack," she beamed, her eyes sparkling. "I really think this could work." He smiled back, but inside, anxiety churned. "Let us hope others feel that way too," he murmured, scanning the room as people trickled out. Some faces were still skeptical. He could read the uncertainty. For every smile, there was a frown just around the corner. On his way back to his desk, he overheard two colleagues whispering. "It's bold, sure," one of them said. "But can we really take this kind of risk?" Jack's heart sank. The doubts would slide in like shadows, creeping closer, casting an uncertainty over everything they had planned. That night as he lay in bed, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. He thought about the appeal of a carnival, the joy it could bring, the laughter of children playing games, the warmth of community wrapping around everyone who attended. But what if it didn't work? What if their efforts fell flat, and the office reverted back to the competition-driven atmosphere they had always known? The next morning, Jack re-entered the office with a newfound resolve. Discussions were starting again, and he had to be stronger, more persuasive. He would not allow fear to dictate the outcome. As he approached his coworkers, some still fidgeting with their pens, others clutching coffee cups, he drew a deep breath. "Hey everyone," he said, his voice steady. I know this is new territory for us. I'm asking for your support. Not just for Lisa but for everyone who needs a little hope. Together we can create a ripple effect. The room fell silent, and Jack could see faces shifting as people absorbed his words. I can't do this alone. But we can all take part in this chance to make a difference. Step outside of our comfort zones. Please let us step up together. A colleague named Mark, often the first to voice skepticism, nodded slowly. You're right, Jack. Maybe this is our chance to show what we can do as a team beyond the work emails and metrics. Yes. Lisa chimed in, her enthusiasm reignited. If one person can feel uplifted, think of how many more can benefit. We're not just raising money. We're fostering connections, spreading kindness. Heads began to nod, a small but impactful sign of their unity growing stronger. Conversations reignited, and more ideas bubbled to the surface. Jack felt a swell of pride. They were rallying, turning the tides on hesitation. But just as momentum surged, the office manager quietly entered the room, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. I hear we might be going off script here, she said, frustration evident in her tone. Are we sure this won't disrupt productivity? We have business to run. Jack's heart raced again. Would they collapse under pressure? How could he convince her to see the value beyond numbers and graphs? Before he could respond, Lisa stood up. I believe this is what we truly need right now. We can work together. Could lead us to stronger bonds and boost morale. Isn't that worth something? The silence that followed felt heavy, filled with anticipation. Jack could hardly breathe. Would the manager see the potential in Lisa's words? Or would this conversation mark the end of their endeavor? In that moment, as he looked around at his colleagues who had shifted from apathy to investment, Jack realized they were all in this together. With raised voices and shared laughter, would they manage to break through the discomfort and redefine their workplace culture? He knew they were at a crossroads. The future hung in the balance, and everything depended on the next words spoken. What would they choose to do? Would they stand united in hope or turn away from this chance? The tension in the room thickened as the manager's gaze swept over the group. Jack felt the collective breath of his colleagues, a tight-knit band of anticipation, as they waited for a decision that could either light a fire or douse it entirely. He was desperate for encouragement, some sign that the energy they had built was not just a fleeting moment. Look, Jack finally said, his voice hoarse yet rising with determination. We're not just talking about a fundraiser. We're talking about a chance to reconnect, to bring joy back into our workspace, and most importantly to each other's lives. The manager's brow furrowed for a moment. Doubt flickered across her face, but Jack pressed on. Just think about it. Carnival, fun and laughter, will create an atmosphere where creativity flows, where people can let loose and feel like a team again. We're not just trying to drive numbers, we're crafting an experience. One that could redefine who we are. Lisa stepped closer, her voice ringing with sincerity. I've seen how our spirits have dimmed. We need this not just to boost morale but to rekindle creativity. We all want to do our best work, but we need a reason to care again. Jack could feel his heartbeat echoing in his ears. The room hung in a fragile balance, and all he could do was hope they would hold on to the moment. Would the manager buckle or yield? Noticing her hesitation, Mark chimed in again. We've worked hard during stressful times. Don't we deserve a break? This could also show our clients that we're not just a faceless corporate machine but a team full of real people with real hearts. The manager shifted, her expression softening as she pondered the idea. After what felt like an eternity, she finally sighed, arms uncrossing slightly. All right, I see your passion, but I want a clear plan. We can't have productivity suffer. Relief washed over Jack as he exchanged glances with Lisa and Mark, each of them sharing quiet, triumphant smiles. Then let us get to it, he said, his excitement bubbling to the surface. We'll create an outline tonight. As they dived back into discussion, the atmosphere transformed yet again. Energy surged. Ideas bounced around like ping-pong balls. Laughter replaced the uncertainty. Jack still felt the weight of the task ahead, but with every idea, every nod of agreement, He could see it becoming real with renewed purpose. Each team member chimed in, proposing games, activities, and ways to generate interest. Jack sketched out a timeline and budget on a whiteboard, his spirit lifting further with each colorful suggestion they painted together. Just then, the office door swung open, revealing Kelly, the always upbeat HR representative. "Hey, I just heard what you guys are up to. Can I join in? I have some contacts for entertainment and food trucks." Jack's heart soared. Kelly's energy was infectious. She had a knack for bringing people together. Of course, the more, the merrier. As the meeting continued, Jack felt something he hadn't experienced in a long while. Hope. They were genuinely working as a unit, excited about creating something meaningful. It felt like shifting gears from an old, rusty engine to a well-tuned machine, poised for speed. But amidst the laughter and collaboration, a flicker of worry remained at the back of Jack's mind. With everyone so invested in this vision, they were risking something precious. If it all fell apart, could they handle the disappointment? That nagging concern was like a small cloud lurking on the edge of a bright, beautiful day. He shook it off. They were okay for now. They had momentum. Maybe this could be the change they all needed. As the discussions rolled on, Lisa caught his eye again and mouthed, "We can do this." She smiled, handing him a bright blue marker. Jack felt a connection sharpen between them, a reality that he sensed could blossom beyond this project. In the midst of their exciting brainstorming, a notification pinged sharply from Jack's phone. He glanced down, his heart pounding. It was a text from his younger sister, the one who always seemed to know when he needed her support. "Thinking about you. Remember to also take care of yourself. Love you." Jack's smile faltered for a moment as he read the kind words. Love. It felt important, like a word that was capable of bridging gaps. "All right, people," he said suddenly, injecting enthusiasm into the air. "Let us gather what we need and keep this momentum going. Let us not just change our office but our lives, and make it a memory to last." The chorus of agreement echoed back. But just then, the office manager walked back in. "I hope you're ready to put some real effort into this. We're not in the clear yet." As everyone's energy dulled just a bit at the thought, Jack saw a flicker of determination return. They weren't quitting. They were just getting started. What awaited them was a challenge, but deep inside, he also sensed a spark, a chance for something profound to happen. Little did they know, everything would soon push them to their limits, forcing them to confront not just doubts around the fundraiser, but the very fabric of their connections. Would they weather the storm together? Or would it all come crashing down with the slightest breeze? What would this adventure reveal about their bonds and about themselves? The next few days would be everything they'd hoped for and more. The days that followed were a whirlwind of planning and excitement. Jack, Lisa, Mark, and Kelly met after hours, their faces illuminated by the bright white lights of the conference room. The energy buzzed like electricity in the air as they divided tasks and brainstormed ideas, flipping through folders filled with possibilities. There was laughter, endless cups of coffee, and the thrill of shared purpose. Jack found himself slipping into a rhythm he hadn't experienced in years. Each step brought fresh ideas. A dunk tank for charity, homemade cupcakes, and a photo booth that would capture silly memories. They were creating something magical together, the kind of project that felt like the heart of their team was beating collectively. Yet, with each passing moment of joy came that haunting worry. What if they couldn't pull it off? What if the carnival ended up as a flop, epitomizing their struggles instead of showcasing their rebirth? There was a thin line between hope and disappointment, and Jack couldn't shake the thought that they were likely just one misstep away from crashing down. But as Jack watched his team rally, those worries grew distant. Lisa's enthusiasm was contagious, her laughter lifting spirits even more. When she joked about dressing up as a funnel cake for the carnival, the room erupted in laughter, and Jack couldn't help but envision the camaraderie and real connections the event could spark. The carnival was shaping up to be more than a fundraiser. It was morphing into a celebration of their resilience. That weekend, they set out into the community to promote the event. They created colorful flyers and visited local businesses, each stop igniting a conversation filled with encouragement and support. The team felt like a patchwork of stories, each person contributing their unique perspective. Underneath it all was a sense of purpose that boosted their morale, something they had missed for too long. As they concluded their promotional efforts on a bright sunny afternoon, the local park came into view, a sprawling area filled with laughter and the shouts of children playing. It was a perfect spot to hold their carnival, and as they stood together, Jack felt a surge of pride. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could do this. But as they sat on the grass, sharing stories and swapping hopes, Kelly's phone buzzed with an urgent tone. Her face paled as she read a message, and everyone turned to look. "It's from my cousin. They just found out their baby has a serious medical condition. They're devastated." A hush fell over the group, the laughter disappearing as quickly as it had come. Jack's heart sank. Here they were, riding high on optimism, and then reality kicked in hard. He could see the turmoil in Kelly's eyes, the tension in her shoulders. For a moment, it felt like their hopes and dreams were colliding with real life in a brutal way. Jack reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder, hoping to convey strength. "We can do this," he said softly, easing into the emotional tide. "For them and for us. We can build something great out of this." But as much as he wanted to believe it, doubts stirred within him again. Could they be strong enough not just for their own work, but for those they loved? The carnival was supposed to bring joy, but now it was mixed with pain, and Jack wondered if he could embrace both sides of the coin. As they sat in a circle, sharing both their enthusiasm and fears, Jack felt a bond growing deeper between them. They had all faced struggles, each carrying their weight, but collectively, they had formed something special. "What if we dedicate a part of the carnival to help Kelly's family?" Mark suggested cautiously, an idea slowly taking shape. "A section where we raise funds for those in need." It was a momentary silence that settled after the suggestion, but Jack felt the weight lifting just a bit. They could channel their energy into this shared purpose. This could unite them in a profound way, turning personal pain into collective healing. But would the emotional toll be too much? Could they withstand this journey as they took two giant leaps forward? Suddenly, Jack noticed an unexpected glimmer in Lisa's eyes, and it filled him with warmth. Perhaps they were all awakening to something much deeper. As the idea grew, so did the uncertainty, merging fear with hope. Jack's heart raced. This carnival was meant to be a celebration, but could it also serve as a lifeline for those fighting to survive? He glanced around at their faces, determined, yet uncertain. What lay ahead felt like a deep-water swim, and they were all in it together. The moment had arrived when their bonds would be tested. They would need to rally not just for the carnival but for each other, confronting doubts head-on. Would this deepen their connections or tear them apart? Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself for the ride ahead. Every turn would shape their journey, each moment of challenge a potential lesson. What they truly needed was about to unfold, and beyond the laughter, beyond the joy, lay the real heart of the story waiting to be told. Would the bonds they formed under pressure carry them through, or would their struggles expose cracks they never saw coming? The days that followed were infused with a new sense of urgency. In the wake of Kelly's news, the team shifted gears, pushing themselves harder, fueled by a desire to help her family. Jack could see it in their faces, the determination, the renewed focus. They dove headfirst into planning the carnival, ideas flowing like water now. They gathered again, the conference room humming with fresh energy. Laughter still peeked through the seriousness of their mission, but now every suggestion came wrapped in the weight of their collective purpose. Lisa was on fire with ideas, pitching everything from a donation booth to a designated storytelling corner where families could share their experiences. "It's so important for people to feel connected," she said, her voice rising with passion. "We need a space where everyone can come together, share, and heal." Jack nodded, feeling the heat of her words settle in his heart. He was right there with her. They were all carrying burdens, but this carnival could transform those heavy weights into something beautiful. Mark chimed in, suggesting a wall of hope, a large canvas where people could write messages of love and strength. "It'll be a reminder of the community we're building," he added. "A place for everyone to see they're not alone." The idea took hold, sparking excitement among the group. Jack's heart raced as he watched his team come alive with this shared vision. It wasn't just about raising funds anymore. It was about creating a sanctuary, a gathering place for empathy and understanding. This carnival was evolving into something much deeper than they first imagined. "Let us put this into overdrive," Jack urged, grabbing a whiteboard marker. He sketched out action items, assigning each task to his teammates. The room buzzed as they divvied up responsibilities and set deadlines. But despite the momentum, Jack's mind flickered back to Kelly. He stole glances at her, always in the corner, her smile bright but shadowed by underlying worry. He wanted to reach out, to show her they were all in this together, but the words never felt quite right. Was he doing enough? The following day, they had their first team outing to promote the carnival. Jack wanted to bring the energy of their brainstorming sessions into the community. They donned their matching t-shirts adorned with cheerful designs and set out, a colorful wave of enthusiasm passing through the local streets. As they walked, families waved, and children pointed. The spark of hope seemed to resonate everywhere. They chatted with local shop owners and handed out flyers. Chuckles and excitement played off of each interaction, creating a synergy that was almost tangible. Yet, amidst the laughter, Jack felt a gnawing undercurrent of anxiety. With every encouraging smile from strangers came the reminder of Kelly's family, and he fought hard to keep his mind focused on the positive. During a lull at one of the stops, he pulled Kelly aside. "Hey, how are you holding up?" he asked, his voice low and sincere. Her lips trembled slightly. "I'm okay. I mean, I have to be," she replied, a brave face covering the worry in her eyes. "I just wish I could do more. It all feels so big." Jack took a breath, searching for the right words. "We're all in this together. And when we support each other, we can do anything. Remember that." His heart ached for her, wishing he could carry the weight of her worries. Later that day, as dusk fell like a soft blanket, the group found themselves gathered in a circle. Mark stood up, addressing everyone, the edges of his voice tinged with emotion. "This is about more than just us. It's about building something greater, a legacy of love and support. I can feel it in my bones. We've got this." The team cheered in agreement, the energy surging again, hearts bound together by a common goal. Jack felt a spark of hope flicker within him. They were becoming not just a team but a family that could withstand anything. But just as optimism wrapped around them like a comforting embrace, Kelly's phone buzzed again. She looked down, pale. Once more. There's more bad news. Cold dread hung in the air. Jack's stomach dropped as he watched Kelly's face. What now? Could they endure this? Just when he thought they were on the cusp of something great, another storm seemed to threaten them. Jack's heart raced. Would they find the strength to weather this together? Or would this challenge shatter the newfound bonds they were forming? Jack felt time slow as he watched Kelly's face transform from concern to sheer panic. "What is it?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if the wrong tone could shatter the fragile hope they built. Kelly's eyes widened, and her hands clenched around her phone. They found a new treatment. Her voice trembled, and she swallowed hard. "But it's risky, and they say we have to act fast." Tears pooled in her eyes, shimmering like glass. Jack's heart sank. It felt like the very ground beneath him had cracked open. "What do you mean risky? Will it help?" She nodded, but it was not the confident affirmation he needed. "They think it might buy some time," but the hesitation lingered in the air, thick and oppressive. Mark, catching the change in mood, stepped closer. "Kelly, whatever it is, we're with you. You don't have to bear this alone." His voice was steady, a lifeline thrown in uncertain waters. "Right?" Lisa echoed, her eyes fierce with determination. "Just tell us what we can do." Tears spilled over and rolled down Kelly's cheeks. I don't know if I can ask for more help. It feels like we're asking for too much." Her voice broke, and it shattered the calm. Jack moved closer, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Kelly, asking for help is not a burden. You're not alone in this. We're all in it together." "Together," Mark agreed, looking to the rest of the team with a spark of resolve igniting in their eyes. For a moment, they stood there, connected by a ripple of shared determination. The shadows that had crept into their hearts began to lift slightly. They were a team, a family forged through shared trials. And in that moment of vulnerability, something changed within each of them, a silent promise to fight for her family. "I'll talk to my mom," Kelly murmured, a flicker of hope igniting through her despair. "She has always been good at finding resources. Maybe we can figure out a way to afford it." "Perfect," Jack replied, squeezing her shoulder. "And we'll keep pushing on with the carnival. Every dollar we raise matters." He could see the light struggling to break through her worry. It was a start. "We'll spread the word, talk to the media, whatever it takes. You've got us, Kelly." As her smile returned, full of cracks but genuine, Jack felt the warmth of purpose pulse through him. They could do this. They could turn her crushing despair into something tangible, something real. The next few days turned into a whirlwind of action. The team rallied the community, sharing Kelly's story through social media and local news. They created flyers and posted updates, reaching out to everyone who would listen to generate volunteers and sponsorships. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath them, like a storm had turned into a wave of hope. But just when it felt like they were gaining momentum, they were faced with their biggest challenge yet. Kelly's phone rang again, and the pallor returned to her face. "It's the hospital," she answered, the tremor in her voice palpable. Jack stood beside her, heart pounding. "You got this, Kelly," he whispered, his own nerves fraying. The room fell silent as she listened, eyes darting from hopeful to terrified. "What do you mean?" Jack clenched his fists, feeling the air grow thick and charged. What news awaited them this time? Would it be the lifeline they were hoping for, or would it bring another wave of heartbreak crashing down? The future hung in the balance, and Jack felt a surge of determination. They had fought hard. It was not just for a carnival anymore. It was for life, for Kelly, and for the chance to create real change. What would it take to turn the tide for her family? As Kelly ended the call, her hands trembled, fingers gripping the phone like it was a lifeline. They want to set up a meeting tomorrow. They say there is a chance the new treatment could work." But she trailed off, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Jack stepped forward, veiling a surge of anxiety with a solid smile. "We'll be there," he declared, almost instinctively, speaking for the team. "You're not alone in this fight, Kelly. We're in it together every step of the way." The room hummed with encouragement, each member of the team leaning in, a circle of warmth gathering around Kelly. The surge of energy wrapped around them like a blanket, hope, fear, determination all swirling together. "I can't believe you all are willing to fight beside me," she whispered, tears spilling over. But this time, they sparkled with a sense of belonging. "Of course," Mark said, his usual bravado shining through. "We're a team. We're all families here. You wouldn't think twice about doing the same for us. We'll pull together for you." Over the next few hours, the vibe shifted into overdrive. The team scattered to finalize plans for the carnival, promoting it as a platform not just to raise funds, but to rally the community behind Kelly and her family. Jack felt the current of positivity flowing through him, electrifying every idea, every suggestion. "Let us promote her story," Lisa suggested, her eyes alive with passion. "Create a Kelly-esque corner at the carnival. People can drop messages of love, and we'll set up a donation booth like a love offering. We'll let her community stand strong behind her." "Yes," Jack exclaimed. "We can collaborate with local businesses to set up food booths and games. Everything we earn goes straight toward helping her family." A chorus of agreement rippled through the room, and Jack looked around at the faces of his friends, his colleagues turned family. They were well on their way to creating something profoundly meaningful. Days passed in a blur of activity, each task sending them racing closer towards the carnival. Flyers filled the community boards across town. Local businesses chipped in, contributing food, prizes, and services. The air teemed with buzz and anticipation, igniting a flame in everyone's heart. Yet, beneath the surface, Jack felt a tight knot of worry cling to him. What if they raised a small amount? Would it be enough for the treatment? Would they fulfill their shared promise to support Kelly? Despite his worries, On the day before the carnival, the atmosphere in the office crackled with excitement. They had all gathered together, painting signs and decorating the event space, laughter spilling forth. "Remember," Jack addressed the team, voice steady yet hopeful. "This isn't just about the money. It's about showing Kelly how loved she is, how much the community stands behind her. Let us make it a celebration of strength and kindness." As he spoke, Lisa's eyes sparkled. "We're creating a legacy of connection that goes far beyond this event. Whatever happens tomorrow, we're stepping into a new chapter together." The next morning, they set up early, the sun rising behind them, casting a golden glow over the park. The air vibrated with joy, families arrived with anticipation, and laughter echoed around them. Jack's heart swelled. Once the carnival kicked off, everything flowed beautifully. Children played games and squealed with delight. Parents laughed and chatted, sharing stories that drew the community closer together. In the designated Kelly's corner, people wrote messages of hope and love for her family, their words blending into a beautiful tapestry of support. The moment Jack saw Kelly smiling amidst the chaos, it pierced through the veil of worry in his heart. He rushed over, enveloping her in a hug. "Look at this," he said, gesturing around. "Your community loves you. This is all for you." Tears glimmered in her eyes, but now they expressed gratitude rather than sorrow. "I can't believe this, it's overwhelming. We've got your back every step of the way," Jack promised, squeezing her hand. As evening began to fall, the carnival transformed into a twinkling spectacle. Dew-kissed grass sparkled under lights, and every corner burst with warmth and laughter. Drawing close to the end, Jack led the group to the center stage. It was time to announce the total funds raised. With the microphone in hand, he managed to steady himself despite a racing heart. "Thank you, everyone, for being here today and for rallying behind Kelly and her family. You didn't just come to support a cause, you came to support a friend. And I can proudly say because of all of you, we've raised." His voice wavered slightly with emotion. "Over 50,000. A loud cheer erupted from the crowd. Tears mixed in with shouts of joy rippling through the air. People embraced, applauded hard and long. And around him, Jack witnessed the evidence of unity and love. As Kelly looked at him, overwhelmed by emotion, he could see her relief washed over with joy. She clutched the money and smiled. No longer just a supporter but part of a resilient community, a family pulling together. "Thank you for believing in me," she whispered to Jack, their connection more profound than ever. "Thank you for showing me what it really means to be family." Jack blinked back tears but couldn't suppress his smile. "This is just the beginning, Kelly. You've lit the spark in all of us. We're stronger together." And in that twilight glow, among the laughter and cheers, they each felt a renewed sense of purpose, hearts swelling with possibility and hope, knowing together they could face anything the world threw at them. This wasn't just a carnival. It was a turning point, a powerful reminder of love, connection, and ultimately, the indomitable spirit of community and family. At that moment, Jack realized he had finally found a purpose beyond accolades or awards. The true triumph dwelled in the richness of his relationships, a heartfelt symphony blossoming, and friendship shining with the light of a million stars. As the crowd began to disperse, Jack turned to his team, unity resounding in their eyes. "Let us keep this momentum going. There is so much more we can do to uplift, connect, and create a legacy of kindness." And in that collective promise, they understood there was no force strong enough to sever the bonds they had forged. Love and kindness would light their path, a guiding star as they stepped towards the future. Together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.